What's up, you guys? So I know it's been a couple weeks since I've done a sit-down video with my camera. I just have not been feeling it lately, and I really needed to focus on building a website and working on some other back-end things that I have going on. But I'm back in the groove now. It was nice to take a break from editing, but I actually want to get more into editing and learn more about it because I've just been doing like very simple basic editing, but I think it's time to step my game up, and I finally have a room that's fun to work in. I have a good workspace, and all of these other mini projects that I was working on are finally finished, so I feel like I can put more energy and effort into video making. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about weight gain in the process of healing a relationship with food or going through recovery. So I think, of course, because body image is a huge concern for anybody who's had a history of dieting, a history of disordered eating or eating disorders, that there is this huge concern of weight gain. And weight gain can be really scary. It's one of the main reasons why people are nervous to start recovery. It's why people are nervous to start intuitive eating. And I totally get that fear. I was once there too. And I resisted healing my relationship with food because I knew that I would have to gain weight if I did so. So I'm just gonna kind of go through a lot of questions that I get, a lot of concerns that people bring up, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will know about the weight gain process during recovery, what it means, and how you can manage it. So I get a lot of questions about this thing called overshoot. So if you don't know what overshoot is, it's when you go through recovery and you gain a lot of weight, and then you gain weight past what like your set point is. And if you don't know what set point is, I talk about that in previous videos. I think I talk about it in my health at every size video. But essentially it's this predisposed weight that your body is meant to be at. And so essentially during recovery, your body gains weight past that weight. Then once your body trusts that, you know, you're not going to go through starvation again, that it's healthy, then the weight will start to decrease because you're not eating as much food, your body's balancing out, and it finally trusts that there's not going to be any restriction coming anytime soon. I don't like to talk about overshoot weight. I don't focus on it when I coach people because I think it puts a lot of focus on weight still. And the whole goal of recovery, at least in the way that I practice it, is to get us away from this focus on weight, because all it does is distract us from actually focusing on our health. If we're so worried about losing weight, then we're not actually going to commit to letting our bodies restore the weight that it needs to or go through that weight gain process. Because what happens is a lot of people will go through this period where they start to listen to their body, they start to eat intuitively, they give themselves full permission to eat, and their body's so hungry and trying to make up for past restriction that they eat a lot and they put on a lot of weight. So then what happens is now we have this expectation that you're going to lose weight. Here's the truth. When we go through the all-in process, the intuitive eating process, the process of giving yourself full permission to eat, you might go through this period where you're eating a lot more than normal, you're eating the foods that were once forbidden, and sometimes people gain weight, sometimes people maintain their weight, sometimes people lose weight. It really depends. And to have this expectation that you're going to eventually lose weight, I think is really dangerous because you might not. What might happen is you engage in intuitive eating and your body restores its weight and then it stays exactly at that weight. Again, it depends on the person, and to have this expectation is really dangerous because if you don't start losing weight, or if you go into it thinking like, I'm only doing this because I know I'm going to lose weight in the future, then when you don't lose weight, you're more susceptible to fall back into disordered eating. You're still obsessed with weight. But the problem is we need to take the focus away from weight, and through this journey of healing your relationship with food and body, we need to make sure that you are in a place where weight doesn't matter. You know, a lot of times we think that weight loss equals health, but if it's distracting us from our health, then it's not healthy. If you're letting the number on the scale dictate how much you're allowed to eat, even though you're really hungry, that's not healthy. If the number on the scale is stressing you out or making it so that you can't attend social events, that's not healthy. So a question I get a lot, or a point that gets brought up, is, isn't gaining weight bad for my health? Again, if you're underweight, you absolutely 100% need to gain weight. I think people are also, if they're not underweight, they're afraid of this process of going all in or giving yourself full permission to eat is unhealthy for them, because some people go into this already above their set point. They're already feeling like they are overweight, And so they don't want to go through this process, or they're scared to go through this process of eating a lot of food and gaining even more weight because they're like, well, I'm already overweight and I feel like that's unhealthy. And I get that concern, but you have to consider what the long-term effects are. So maybe right now you are overweight, like genuinely. And this isn't for somebody who thinks they're overweight, but they're at a normal weight. This is for somebody in the rare case where they truly are over the weight that they're supposed to be at. If you truly give yourself full permission to eat and you truly engage in intuitive eating, eventually your body will balance out. But your body has to go through this process of being able to trust you again. Otherwise, we're going to stay in the cycle where we're dieting, or we have a restrictive mentality around food, and we never actually let our body heal from that. So you have to get to this place where you truly feel like you have full permission to eat, you're no longer restricting, you no longer have fear around food, and that might mean you gain a little bit more weight. But the long-term benefit from that is you get to a place where you start eating regularly, you eat what's normal for your body, and you are able to get to a place where you truly are tuned into your body and able to give it exactly what it needs. And at that point, you will become the healthiest version of yourself. But you can't get there unless you go through this really uncomfortable period of potentially gaining weight. So another comment I get a lot is, I'm way too scared to gain weight. There's no way I can do it. So I think a good question to ask is, why are you afraid to gain weight? And I think that can uncover a lot for people. Maybe it has to do with feeling accepted by others, feeling accepted by yourself, feeling like you're good enough, or whatever the reason is. But it's really important to question where that's coming from so that you can work on the roots of that. Because once you're able to work through on the roots of it, then we can move past it and go like, okay, now we can focus on your health. And the truth is that fear of gaining weight is fat phobia, and that's not your fault, but that is the narrative driven by our society. And there is this irrational fear of gaining weight, and we have made weight gain mean this terrible, scary, evil thing that is gonna ruin your health, but that's just not true. And I want you to question, like, are you afraid of the judgment from other people? Do you believe that you should be judged for that? And if people are judging you for gaining weight, are those really people that you want to be spending your time with? And the truth is, not everybody is going to understand it, especially given the culture that we live in. But if it's someone you're close to, or if it's your family, you have every right to explain this process to them. And if that's too scary, you kind of just have to accept that they're not going to get it, but you have the knowledge, you have the knowing that gaining weight is okay, and it's actually really, really good for you, and it symbolizes liberation, it symbolizes empowerment, and for you, it's symbolizing health. It's not right for anybody to judge you based on the size of your body. You do not deserve that. So what can be really helpful in this is finding a community that supports you. And for me, I had to find that community through Instagram. I'm going to put in the description below a bunch of accounts that you can follow that are body positive, body neutral, focused around anti-diet and recovery and body acceptance. And here's the thing that I want to remind you of. The body recovers before the mind does. Remember everything that healing your body will give to you. Think about everything that's going to open up for you once you're in a place where you're not obsessing about weight, you're not obsessing about what you're going to eat. And it truly does not matter what the size of your body is when you start this process, because in the long term, it will improve your health no matter what. And really take on this lens of body neutrality. I love the body positive movement, but I think when we're thinking in terms of body image, we really need to take on a body neutral approach. The body positivity movement is all about including all types of bodies, no matter what. And I think people have contorted it to mean that you must love your body and you must feel positively about your body, but that's just not true or realistic. And so taking on this lens of body neutrality is really helpful because it takes the pressure off. You don't have to love how your body looks. You just have to accept it for what it is and know that you are so much more than a body. And you have to remember that it's what's on the inside that really matters. And people don't fall in love with you or want to be around you just because of the size of your body. And if they do, I think it's really important to question those relationships. If your entire relationship with somebody is based on your appearance, that might be something to look at. And here we're aiming for beyond something that's diet culture's nonsense. Diet culture tells us that our weight means something about us, but we know, and you know, that that's just not true. There is so much more to the picture. And another thing is our bodies are always changing. If we're constantly trying to look a certain way in order to feel good about ourselves, we are never going to feel fulfilled. Because oftentimes when we are feeling insecure, we turn to body image and we turn to controlling our body. When it's not really ever about the body, it's always something deeper. So our focus needs to be on taking care of our bodies and getting ourselves healthier. And that might mean that you gain weight. It might mean that you lose it. It might mean nothing about your body changes. So again, I know that period of giving yourself full permission to eat can be really intimidating and scary, but it's so necessary if you're going to heal your relationship with food, because we need to reinforce to the body and the mind, hey, we're not going to restrict again. You can trust us. And yes, that might mean you gain weight, but you have to understand that the long-term effects are that you truly get to tune into your body. And when you're really able to listen to your body and give it what it needs, that's when you're going to become your healthiest. Redefine what weight gain means, and know that for you in this process, weight gain is symbolic of you getting your power back, getting your life back, and becoming liberated. So I hope that was helpful. If you need guidance on how to go through this process, I coach, and this is what I do. I help people heal their relationships with food, heal their eating disorders, and move through the uncomfortable process of gaining weight and accepting your body at any size. And if you feel like that's something you struggle with, please don't hesitate to reach out. My DMs are always open. You can email me at annawagnercoaching@gmail.com, and you can visit my website at annawagnercoaching.com. I hope you guys are well. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for future videos, and I'll see you next week.